Here for the first talk of this track is Mike Curnow, and the talk is Perfect Cell Games. You thought it was just surveillance.
And yeah, thanks everyone for coming. It's really good to be here. I've done a few BSides before. I didn't know kind of had one. I didn't know this was great. So, but yeah, here's my talk. Perfect cell games. I thought it was just surveillance. This is my true power. It's how IMSI catchers and rogue cells can be kind of flipped on their head to actually affect critical infrastructure that uses cellular connectivity. Introduction. So, quick agenda. Here are some bullet points of what I'm going to talk about. I'm going to try and go a little bit quick because I do have a lot of slides, and I'm going to try and breeze through some stuff so I can get to the cool stuff. I mean, it's all cool, but I got to get through some of it quickly. Okay, so this, I didn't want to put a picture up, so this is me.
Definitely.
I am the man giving the presentation. Sort of right. I'm the man giving the presentation. I'm not going to talk too much about myself, do the whole Sony years and the alphabet soup stuff. I'll just say that I fancy myself more as a systems architect than wears a cybersecurity skin suit a little bit in my entire cybersecurity career. As system architecture and engineering is my true passion. But cyber is a great way to apply a lot of stuff I can do. So kind of like when I'm in the room with folks, I'm kind of like Edgar from Men in Black. So when everyone is talking about stuff and they go, if you guys watch me. All right. So anyways, we'll get going here. One thing that I do want to make clear really quick is that I have to use this particular presentation with the web application file. The formatting gets all jacked up, and which means I don't know what slide is coming next. So I'm kind of doing a lot of shooting from the hip as I go. Yeah, okay, here's hills I will die on. Another
Here. This one right here really pissed me off because I drove from North Carolina,
and people here just go like 20. Like I'm pretty sure on the Merritt Parkway it was like people doing 80. It's 55. Ridiculous.
something fair.
Yeah, I'll learn for next time. So I'm going to start off with getting into rogue cells and what exactly they are. So I didn't have a good pointer. So all right, I'll start off with the EFF. It was much more yellow this morning. I'll start off with the EFF definition. They're rogue-based stations, also known as IMSI catchers. They look like that. They do stuff, and they essentially try to look like cellular infrastructure to user equipment. Another EFF slide here. So depending on the type they use, it can be a very simple passive IMSI catcher, or it can be something a little bit more complex where it's actually emulating real EPC and other like behind the RAN cloud infrastructure, or the components behind the RAN that connect you to the internet and to the other cells from the cell towers and whatnot. They go by a bunch of different names. I'm getting used to the lag here when I hit the button. They go by a bunch of different names. These are all things that are recorded on different websites and government documents and whatnot, but I just call them rogue cells because that's easier and it's less to write, and I'm lazy. So they look like this, lots of different form factors. Some of these are meant for, being mounted in vehicles and drive them around. Some of them about airplanes, BB handheld. I've seen a few of these too. What was the next slide? Yes. Okay. So they look like this, and they're trying to emulate this. What you see here is a cell tower. In a cell tower, it's multiple cells to provide like 360-degree directional coverage. So it's like a pie. It's like a circle pie. It's like a pizza pie, right? So when the cell hits your eye, like a big pizza pie, that's amore, right? So if you want to learn more about directional cell coverage, I do suggest checking out cellmapper.net. There we go, cellmapper.net. You literally look like this is where we are now. Look, pizza pie. I don't want to be the guy getting this one. I want to be the guy getting that. But yeah, that's just something that y'all can check out too. So next slide. Also too, if you sometimes you might see devices like this too, they're like microcells or picocells that are to like assist with any, they do like supplementary coverage, right? Does that make sense? So like if you're lapping in one direction or one area, or if you're in a city and there's lots of buildings, it's hard to get cell signal. Like when I was driving up here, I went through Baltimore and Philadelphia, both bad ideas, but I did it. And I had 5G all of a sudden, which I never had 5G at home. It's like the entire time, I'm like, where are these cell towers? But they got these hanging off like posts and stuff. I'm literally surprising myself with the slides as they come by. To kind of get into who is actually using these, it's very generally just law enforcement and um, it's showing much better on my screen. It's kind of laggy here, but so there's a time Mr. Olympia Ron Coleman. He actually was a legit police officer, which is pretty cool. That's Rocco Bodie from 1964, hacker, making fun of the job. It's a lot. In this particular threat, in the threat model of the vulnerability that I want to talk about, it doesn't matter who's doing it because the end result is essentially the same. So whether it's a police driving by with their IMSI catchers, making things turn on and off and doing weird stuff, or it's criminals actually pointing and making a concerted effort to target infrastructure, the output's the same. So, or the outcome's essentially the same. So I kind of consider these the same entity. It's just actor. It's an actor. That's it, right? So if it can happen on accident, it can happen on purpose. And so here's I just have a few deployment pictures of what these look like out in the wild. If you have any kind of, I'm gonna say this lightly, interesting large social gathering of people, you might see something like this. And no, they're not out there providing free internet. They're looking to see who's out there because the International Mobile Subscriber ID, which is in your phone, links a paying subscriber to that particular device. If it's in the area, they say, hey, subpoena the AT&T. Okay, now I know who pays for that. Right. Here is another scenario right here where the ATF has flown these under fixed-wing Cessna planes looking for criminals. And then when they do that, this is fun, right? But here's the part. Right? So from the Protestant perspective, it's just ridiculous. So getting into the personal privacy side, I'm not going to cover super much on the privacy side because this whole endeavor of mine, this research that I've been doing for the past 6 years started with privacy, but it pivoted to just infrastructure. And there's going to be another talk at the end of the day that is, I believe it's a little bit more privacy focused on the cell side, talking about like the EFF ray hunters and stuff, which is pretty cool, which I brought mine too, by the way. So yeah, privacy implications, identity exposure, location tracking, comms interception, device exploitation and control and manipulation of service. Those are actually very, very difficult to do from a technical perspective. And it's determined on the hardware that's actually being used to do it. If it's a very advanced thing, like if you have one of those super stingrays with all the modules that you can put on it to actually facilitate full connectivity from your UE, user equipment, phone, other connected thing, right? Just the acronym UE, I'll say that a few times, to the RAN, which is a radio access network that sells on the cell tower, and then facilitating that to another cell tower, another backend cloud system, internet, right? That is difficult to do, but I am all but positive that it is possible to do through the radio interface. Then master surveillance, which I talked a little bit about, user behavior profile. I'm not going to go too much into privacy beyond that because privacy is a crime, and I don't want to talk about it, okay? Okay, so physical safety, hold on. Physical safety. This is getting more into the actual meat of the topic here. So a cellular in infrastructure, ITS, intelligent transportation systems, that's a very simple example of this would be like when you're driving on the highway, you see cameras on the side of the road, not the normal police cameras, but the ones that are actually looking at like road conditions. traffic backups, accidents and stuff like that. And they're reporting that information gets detected, sent to the traffic management center. Analysts in the TMC then goes on their advanced traffic management system and goes automate, sign to the dynamic messaging. Right? That's ITS. That's the infrastructure that relies on detection of different environmental state. I'm not going to go through which one will be your fair. Okay, EV chargers. We know what electric vehicle chargers are. We charge electric vehicle. Okay. And then rail. Rail is a very interesting one too, because passenger rail and freight rail are both doing CVTC and PTC. So that's precision train control and communications-based control. Understanding the state of the train and its location, and a bunch of other metadata at all times, so that you can have as many rolling stock on the rail as possible, and have it as safe as possible. And those connected buses, which Connecticut has connected buses too, which is pretty cool. You have Cellular connected buses that reach back to an op center report, location, fire data, stuff like that, safety info. Truck. The general theme is connected vehicles, connected infrastructure, reports to a thing, and that thing makes you do other things. And they're using cellular as the medium of communication. So it is everywhere. It's in a lot of places yet. So I got a few examples here. So this is, I talked about ITS. I'll talk a little bit about CV2X. So CV2X is a cellular vehicle to everything. It's using cellular. I'm going to broaden the term a little bit here because CV2X is a cellular vehicle to everything. But there's also more short-range DSRC communications as well, which is already out there. It's a little bit more prevalent than CV2X, which is its own 3GPP standard for doing near communication off of PC5 interface directly. So yeah, I got a little scenario here. It's just hey, there's an accent up here. Camera sees the accent, alerts the TNC, stuff in there, and they push out a message. They can do this manually. They can do it automatically, depending on the scenario. If there's like hand scenarios that can be on it. And what it does here is it not only not only updates the dynamic message DNS, it also will update connected vehicles, whether they're 4G or 5G. And here I got an example of actual CV2X, or lead B2B in this case, using the CV2X communicating from a vehicle, which is based off of another older direct devices device communication for like pre-programming handhelds for like safety communications. Then from there, there's you can go over 5G or 4G, do network assisted CV2X, get information about each other, take information from a TNC, alerts and whatnot. Some of it's not rolled out yet in the works, some of it's already out. Just as an example, I got a couple examples here. Cell infrastructure for EV charging. Another scenario where cellular is paramount here. As in this scenario, we've got a battery electric storage site as the distributed energy resource for the we're charging EV charger, where sometimes it can connect right to the grid too. Like you can connect to microgrids, you can connect to regular grid. It's diversity of deployment options here. And these require cellular, in most cases, they require cellular communications. They need to talk to some kind of backend to do management, monitoring, and help people maintain, do all that stuff. So if you were to make it with those communications, you can definitely, I'm with this guy right here. You got in this one, so you can't just do home Wi-Fi as well. And rail. So red rail is another one. Commuter rail, passenger rail, or light rail, subway, freight rail. Just have some wayside units, which are kind of like roadside units for IC active films, but they're wireless boxes and fixtures just sit on the side of the rail. So as we're going, they can communicate certain data. They can announce positive location of where the transport lines. The dream can also connect to the ROCC, the Rail Operations Control Center. Sometimes it can be called something different, but specifically an OCC in these transit administrations that we use. So does that make sense? Okay. Like all this honey is not helping. Okay, so getting into a little bit more on how it works. Okay, we'll talk. We'll start. Kind of the whole idea here is kind of start big and kind of drill down to the real. Like we'll start right. So we'll get into the baseband processor first. Who's heard of the baseband processor? Yes. Okay. Okay. Cool. So can you come up? No. Good. So yeah, it's essentially another. So like when you have, I'll use phones. Actually, can I get my phone real quick? Okay. So I'm time these. On this another cell equipment. You've got guaranteed processor, which is like the idea of break my email, reach the protocol. You've also got separate. There's multiple computers in a user equipment, right? But you've got one called a baseband processor, and its job is to help. There's a lot of logic in it, and what we're going to be talking here is about how it helps to allocate radio resources that are appropriate for like LTE or 5G communications. So you have this computer in here that you don't have really any access to. Forgot why I enlarged that, but I made it bigger for you if you needed to see it bigger. Okay. Okay, so we have, I think I made this bigger too. There we go. Okay, so we got like some basic like air architecture here. Base data processor, an input signal will put this up your phone. You can make a phone call, go on, and that it will go out, and then it will come in. So it modulates out, he modulates in. Essentially, that's what it does on that hardware side. But it also contains logic to do things like radio resource control, which is very important for the non-access stratum portion of trying to connect to the radio access network, to connect to a cell from the phone. I say this talk is mostly about critical infrastructure, but I use phones a lot because it's analog that we all have. But imagine this stuff and some stuff that can make things go boom, right? So there we go. So I have getting into the application processor and baseband processor. These things have a relationship with one another. You do not necessarily access the baseband processor from the application side. So depending on what kind of hardware you have, what chipset you have, they open up hardware abstraction layer. So you may be able to find a HAL access. You might be able to find diagnostic access. Like in here, the pro rate number one thing. I think there was not much you got. Okay, here we go. So there's no Verizon IMSI catchers because that's great, right? But in here, it opens up a diagnostic interface on the MBM 9207. I forgot it's a bunch of numbers. The Qualcomm chip that's in here. Sometimes they'll open up a diagnostic interface. The hardware itself too. So like I think it's Verizon that makes this. Yeah, it's Verizon. They could have closed some of that stuff out too. But how you interface with it is dependent on vendor hardware, what they want open up and closed off, and what you can kind of like sneak under the hood too. Okay, so yeah, here is some of the protocol stack for 4G. It's pretty similar for 5G, but in this particular scenario where the catchers and the pro self and all that is going to be an issue, is radio resource control and NAS, which is the non-access stratum. Non-access stratum means it's part of the radio access network conversation that doesn't have to do with allocating radio resources directly. It's just sharing the information to the user equipment. Yeah, so that's what I'm talking about right there. So getting into the basic RAN. RAN just means radio access network, whether it's a 4G or a 5G. And all this works. We have phones, we have connected vehicles, we have a bunch of other ones here. And so this scenario is just supposed to show how two phones can connect to each other in a very simple topology, and then how connected vehicle could have some kind of fleet backend or something that they need to connect to. The vehicle themselves or the ECUs in the vehicle. You can have multiple cell connections. You have multiple cellular enabled ECUs in the vehicular network. So what the issue is here with radio resource control, with how this gets done from the user equipment to the radio access network, is it's something called cell selection. So when you're doing cell selection, there is a very simple formula right here. First, it does a PLM selection, which other plan network selection. What country are you? What area are you? And tab right in this country here. Once that passes, it's looking for the cell selection reception level, the cell selection quality level to be about a in relatives at zeros and mean different stuff based on the network conditions and environment here. But it's got to be about 6. So very quickly here, we've got the network access thread attaching the path procedure. So random access is just when so like people think phones ping out. Phones don't really ping out. They don't start the conversation. They just proceed something called a master information block, which tells them what to allocate to then take the next set of information, which is a system information blocks. And these tell you the selection criteria, the different neighbors, selection priorities. Should you pick me over someone else? What is the minimum quality level that you need to have before you can talk to me? And that kind of stuff. And so here, this is what I call the cellular islanding. It's this idea of a directed attack where you are getting connected infrastructure, convincing it, beyond a shadow of a doubt, you're the best thing out there. It needs to connect to you. And to continuously fail the NAS attach procedure over and over again. That way it's stuck to you, but it's going nowhere. So here's very amusing connected buses here. On the left side, it is like what it's supposed to look like, right? That's the typical scenario. On the right side, it's connected to a bad cell, and it's just kind of black hole in the traffic, right? This is not going in. So if there's a fire on that bus, and the fire safety mechanisms get tripped, and normally the administrative operations center would get a notification of that to get cell connection. Even if it's dual home, you can still, because you do get dual home with different service providers, but you can tune these. Just have two and catches, right? Have 2 devices, and tune them to the PLNs of AT&T or Verizon. Whatever else is in the area that they're talking to. So, where are we on? Where are we on time? I'm going to talk super fast. Okay, I'm not going to do the exercise. I had an exercise, but anyways, I got proposed countermeasures I've been working on since 2022 at this point in the research. The first one is called cell selection integrity verification. Algorithmically determining whether or not a cell is worthy of and safe enough of being a serving cell that you want to camp on. And doing that, initially it was written for a firmware implementation, but I've been working on ways to kind of abstract it out and simplify it to something a little bit more user space based on how much interaction you have with the chipset that's being used in that device. And then the second one is route lock cell enforcement, which is, I'll get into that momentarily here. There should be oh yeah, I got some docs to share. Let me go ahead and do this. Okay, so I'm going to go quick. I have links and stuff, things to share. Escape out of here, go here, go here. So I've got, all right, so I'm just going to sit here and wait. Okay. So yeah, cell selection, integrity verification, taking that things have to do this and that have to be over 0 for me to consider connecting to. There's got to be a little bit more to that. And this persists, by the way, 2G, 3G, 4G, and 5G. A lot of it has to do with backwards compatibility to like 2G and 3G. And it's also in things like narrowband IoT and other cellular protocols that were, written for these low-level computing devices that have limited computing resources like the smartwatches and smart meters and all that. I will blow through this one here, but there is just something I want to get across. This consists of 9 different verification algorithms that check things that are 1, deterministic and known about the 3GPP standards, and then 2, it's doing things to check. It does a lot of like Z-score calculations and whatnot, and how to determine whether or not the broadcasting cell you're talking to is trying to be like a pick-me of cell towers or not. And sometimes it can get a little bit complicated too. So there is I just want to get to the state machine real quick because that's going to be. It is down here. There's essentially it's using math to just keep track of the state of the cell that you're talking to or trying to talk to. Because the IMSI catchers are rogue cells. They're trying to pretend to be part of infrastructure so that they can say, hey, you should connect and consider me part of the infrastructure. But they look weird though. Like there's things with them that look weird. There's things with with them that are just not going to look legitimate, no matter how well they tune it. So there is the verification algorithm process is essentially a state machine that's keeping things in the state of clean, suspect, bar, and probation. These words, I'm not going to describe what they mean, but clean's good, suspect, you look a little bit weird, whatever. Barred, you did something bad, and probation means maybe over time you were not bad, so we're going to add you into this state where you can go back to clean, and then I'll just recycle that. So I'm going to do here is I got a little demo to show how that works. Okay, bam. Let's see if this will work. Okay, so I got a demo here, and what this or it's not a demo, it's a visualization to just better communicate how this works. In the middle, there's a square. That square is me. I'm not actually the square, but I'm controlling the square. So I'm going to move around, and this is supposed to approximate like city blocks and whatnot, right? Like you're in a city somewhere, and you have cells nearby. And as we move, it's procedurally generating different buildings, different cells, and it's showing different states. You'll see the color changes, right? It goes from blue to yellow to red to green and whatnot. And it's just going through the flow of that state machine of looking at everything that cell is broadcasting and comparing that to what we know with cells in the area. And what we know it should be broadcasting based on static configs of what 3GPP standards are supposed to be. So it's kind of a mix of different ways of trying to verify it. I'm going to stop this because I know we're getting low here. Low on time. Not getting low. That's a different thing. Okay, let me escape out of here and try not to mix that up. What are you doing? Okay, I'll just exit out. I built to escape in there, so you should just be able to double tap escape, but I guess it doesn't work. Then next, I'm gonna get into this one here. This is a recent one. This is a recent one that I came up with. I'll kind of breeze through this one here. It's called route block cell enforcement. This is not so much on the firmware of crap. I mean, drop my crown, dude. I don't want to do that. Anyways, we had or I had to work this out. It's when you have fixed transportation, rail, bus, subway, whatever, right? And it's going to static routes. These are like routes that you just know because they're on the website, right? That's just the static routes. Well, at the user space level, bless you. Was that right? I heard someone sneeze. I don't know. Preemptive. Okay. Anyway, so the idea is allocating different segments, sections, and blocks and whatnot of a route, and then be able to simply just assign what the good cells are that you pre-survey everything, like what the cells are supposed to be connecting with, and from there, kind of like not hard coding, but configuring it so that as you're moving in different parts of the segment, you're only actually connecting to certain cells that you've already pre-surveyed, and then it's a dynamic process because it'll detect new cells that are also good. It can report that back, and then folks can determine whether or not they want to actually add them to it. I have a visualization for this one as well to kind of help show how that works. Bam. Okay. So here, this is modeled after the Charlotte Area Transit System Blue Lock. And this is a place I've worked out some of their rail before, and I do like that area. So if I hit space, this is just supposed to be a train or bus. No, the blue line's train. Light rail. It's just going through the different stops. It's more fluid on my screen, but it's lagging a little bit for the zoom talk. So we can see that as it's going through, it's got actual blue hybrid cells. That's net. And you can actually configure how I believe it's this one. You can actually configure how big or small your segment or block is, because that's something that's built into the protocol. But yeah, so we got that, and I'm gonna exit that. All right, I got something in my eye, like the crappiest time. Okay, so let me go back to the presentation. Of course, it's gonna load. Okay, there we go. It's gonna get to the end here. There is a call to action down here that I'll just share real quick. All right, so call to action. These are things you can do if you want to. The content's cool too. I'm not going to judge anyone for it. There's a few things. One, there is a bill now, Cell Site Simulator Act. It's not really directed at the critical infrastructure stuff. It's just saying it's basically just trying to make it harder for law enforcement to end up using these, and especially to use it as like a first resort. That can drastically reduce some of the issues that I see here for sure. Second off is contracts. If you're in positions, like I'm in positions where in contracting and procurement, I start putting cell provisions into these requirements, cellular connectivity, because people always look at, oh, we're good. We mutual authenticationalisms. We do the TPO, do the TLC, right? That's what it is. And so that what goes over the wire is fine. We don't look at the wire itself. I look at the wire itself. So I start building some of this into contract departments, and I'm doing work with different like transit places and folks that need to either procure or deploy or stand up sites and equipment. That's one way of going about it. And then there's also research. Research on cell security typically goes with is typically a lot of like what happens after you've already authenticated to make it so that you can't be knocked off the active connection. Not so much what happens before, like in radio resource control and random access and all that stuff that we talked about before, or that I talked about before that you listened, I hope. So that's what I have right now. That's the whole presentation. Sure. I've got some links too. I tried to have a super big footprint, but I told myself that that's actually not my YouTube. That's a buddy of mine's YouTube. His work actually got me started into the cellular space in general, so I'll give him credit here. But yeah, I've got like GitHub and LinkedIn and stuff. That's pretty much it. I don't know if I'm gonna have answers, but anyone has questions, I don't know if I'm gonna have answers. We'll go ahead and see. Yeah. So we're good on time for a few questions, or
Yeah.
okay. Yes. No, but I want to. So that whole like on the different specs I wrote, they have the logo C6 on it and all that. That's the thing that I'm working on, which is it's security specifically for the conduit. So if it's like a physical conduit, broadcast conduit, logical combination of them. So having a repository, so right now it's in my GitHub, so I put it here, but I'm going to make its own GitHub. There will be procurement language, kind of like how the DOE has electric vehicle charging station procurement, which is all in what I've done because I wrote the first EV chart on the cybersecurity spec for the federal government. So now that was picked up from the DOT I wrote it for, they just propagate that out. And I was like, that would be a cool thing to do with something like this, That's a good question. Yes, I would say just keep track of that GitHub, because I do plan on actively updating that with different documents. Yes.
So sorry, but GitHub has a related topic. Aerial self-message.
Right here. Yeah.
So it's just curious if you have any plans to cooperate with them because I felt like the research is very later on.
I've been to talk to anyone from the EFF. I just go to their website a lot. Because they have a lot of cool stuff. We even have the NSA things like NSA training materials on how to use NC catches. Yeah, I haven't talked to anyone from there. I was looking into Crocodile Hunter for a bit. But when they came out with this, it was actually much easier. So I might actually reach out to whoever's working on the development for this. Because it was very creative because like this doesn't open up any actual interfaces for you to do it. Like they slipped in a Rust binary root shell to go in there. That was pretty cool. So I did get to play with this a lot, and I get to use their root shell that they slipped in there. It's nice. The answer is no. I haven't done anything about it yet, but it'll be cool though. So did a different, you know, not different domain, but similar aspects to it.
All right. And let's thank Mike for the presentation.
Thank you.